On to this now. Former President Jacob Zuma's arms deal corruption trial will finally get underway on the 14th of April next year. KwaZulu-Natal Judge President Toba Boyo Dlwati revealed the dates earlier today. Next year will mark exactly 20 years since charges were first enrolled against Zuma for his alleged involvement in the multi-billion rand procurement of weapons for the state dating back to the 1990s. Zuma has launched several legal applications which have prevented the proceedings from moving ahead. The National Prosecuting Authority has welcomed the trial date, saying it's hoping for no further delays. Well, let's speak more about this now, and we're joined by the Prosecuting Authority's spokesperson, Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga. Advocate, good evening to you, and thank you for your time. So finally, a trial date has been set. Let's begin with whether there are any fears of more delays ahead.
Good evening, Colin. Good evening to your listeners. Knowing Mr. Zuma as a litigious person, you can't rule out a possibility that the NPA's prosecution team will be navigating other hurdles that may stand in the way of the matter finally proceeding. Remember, Colin, you made it clear that it has been 20 years since the matter started and since we've been camping in that Pietermaritzburg High Court. However, he has been mounting a lot of applications which we have vigorously opposed. These applications on matters that have been pronounced by the Apex Court, which is the Constitutional Court. He has now also applied for leave to appeal against Judge Cili's dismissal of the application to have Mr. Downer recuse himself, which we have opposed. So chances of him mounting other interlocutory applications can never be ruled out.
Yeah. So these dates that have now been set, there is one important date, though, preceding the 14th of April, and that is the 29th of August this year. What is it that is going to be discussed in court on that particular 29th of August?
Only every criminal matter must be certified trial ready in terms of the practice directives of each particular division of the High Court. So on the 29th of August, both parties will be having discussions and deliberations on the state of readiness of the case in terms of whether Mr. Zuma has placed his counsel in funds ready to proceed, whether the state has disclosed all statements that are contained in the docket to the defense. But remember, this is the second pretrial conference because remember, they've already pleaded not guilty to the charges. So there was a pretrial conference where the matter was certified ready in 2021. So this is a second one, which is why we are disappointed that it could not proceed today. But those are things that unfortunately we couldn't prevent, and the matter has been postponed to the 29th of August. But we're hopeful, Toli, with Mr. Zuma, that because publicly he has been demanding his day in court so that he can prove his innocence. So on the 14th of April 2025, we are hoping that finally the wheels of justice will be in motion.
Any indications at this stage, Advocate Mhaga, as to when it is that the court, and which court will this be, by the way, that will entertain the appeal of Judge Cili's ruling relating to the prosecutor on this matter, Advocate Billy Downer?
The leave to appeal is made before the judge who dismissed the application, and therefore Judge Cili is going to be the one that presides over it. A date has not yet been determined when that hearing will be.
But will that stand in the way of the 14th April date at all?
It shouldn't, Toli, at all, because we are arguing that even that application has no merit and that application is non-existent. It should not be brought at all because it's not dispositive of the issues, and as such it could be determined later in the trial. It does not have to stand in the way of the trial proceeding on the 14th of April 2024.
All right. Let's then deal with the charges that the former president faces alongside this French arms manufacturer, Thales. Do you want to remind us what those are?
It's corruption, it's fraud, and other related charges. Unfortunately, I don't have the charge sheet with me right now or the indictment, but they date back to 20 years ago, as you've outlined earlier in your introductory remarks. We are hoping and we are always confident, we've always maintained that we will sustain these charges. We've got a formidable case that has been made up of witnesses who are going to testify. Even when they pleaded not guilty, we were ready to put our first witness in the witness box who's going to articulate the issues that have been contained in the indictment so that at the end of the day, you can sustain a conviction against both accused.
Yeah. Finally, Advocate Mhaga, you will know this better than I. The former president, in the matter relating to the state capture inquiry, which landed up at the highest court in the land, the National or the Constitutional Court, he was sent to jail, and cutting the long story short, at some point, correctional services released him on medical parole. That was later revoked, and simply on the basis that he had not served time. I'm interested in the element of the former president being released on medical, that medical element. Could that be an argument for him to not be sent to jail should he be found guilty on this arms deal trial?
Oli, it is an unfair question that you are asking to an institution that was not party to those proceedings. And as such, we must wait until he is convicted on these charges and deal with the issue of sentencing as and when that conviction has been sustained by the prosecution. Unfortunately, I won't be able to indulge you on that.
Understood. Thank you very much for your time. Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga speaks for the National Prosecuting Authority.